The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida. This is episode 18A of the Finding Florida podcast on the Florida Podcast Network. Festival Fun, the preview.
Welcome to Finding Florida, the podcast that takes you from country to the coast. Join your tour guides, an unlikely pair, city girl Jemmy and country boy Glenn, as they explore the amazing sights and sounds of the Sunshine State.
Thank you for joining us on this lead up to our 18th adventure, the Finding Florida podcast. For this adventure, we are visiting 3 different festivals happening in our state: the Sun and Fun Fly-In in Lakeland, the Hatsumi Japanese Festival in Delray, and the Cajun Crawfish and Music Festival in Palm Beach Gardens.
And any long time,
that's right. I was going to say that. I mean, long time listeners will know who's not going to that.
So we'll share all of that audio with you in our next episodes, 18B and C. These 3 festivals really couldn't be much more different, and we kind of ended up having to split up our attack. So Glenn flew solo, literally, in the Sun and Fun Fly-In before joining me down here for the Hatsumi Japanese Festival. And then I'll be hitting up the crawfish and beer at the Cajun Crawfish and Music Festival here on the 20th. But here are a few quick clips from the first 2 parts of this adventure.
From behind the crowd and overhead, we're going to see the final pass of the United States Navy's Legacy flights.
I believe it's the attendees that have made this into a cosplay event.
Y'all took over.
Yes, we're everywhere, as you can see.
But on this episode, we're talking about festivals in Florida, and there are so many different kinds all year round. And then we'll get into a whole bunch of other fun Florida stuff, including Critters of Florida, FML, and Flori-DUH. Listen in.
We need the sunshine and palm trees of Florida. Florida, when you need it bad, we've got it good. When you need it bad, come to Florida, we need it bad.
So we're going to start off by talking about festivals in Florida, and it is just prime festival season all year round because the weather's really good all year round. I mean, in the summer it's a little brutal, but festivals can be...
There aren't too many in July and August.
Or at least not too many outdoors. Most of those are in the convention centers. But
exactly.
Yeah, there's a robotics one in the summer that's amazing. But anyways, yeah, there's festivals to be had in Florida just all year round. So I want to ask you, Glenn, to try to spot the fake. So which of these is not an actual festival or event at a festival? And we're just going to go down the list here real quick.
Okay,
all right.
This is fun.
There's some interesting ones out there, let me tell you. First up, the armadillo races at Swamp Cabbage Festival. Happens every February in LaBelle. Is that real or is that fake?
Is swamp cabbage a thing? I don't even know I don't know. Wow, there's so much. I hope there's an armadillo race. I'm going to say no because I've never heard of swamp cabbage.
Yes, there are armadillo races and there is a swamp cabbage
What
festival.
is swamp cabbage?
We are champions of niches, but that is a niche. If I have ever heard of one.
You know what? With all the podcasts out there, there's probably a swamp cabbage podcast.
Probably. All right, next up. Now that you've satisfied your tummy with some swamp cabbage, let's go for your thirst buds. Is the Sebring Soda Festival featuring 200 flavors a real thing?
Sebring Soda Festival.
Every April at Sebring.
I'm going to say that's a thing.
That is a thing, and I'm really excited about it. It makes me feel like, is it nostalgic? Is it what? What kind of sodas are there? But yeah, it's like actual organic and homemade
God,
sodas.
There's a lot of people on a sugar high after that, baby.
All right, next up, Venice Shark Tooth Festival. Happens in Venice, also in April. Is that a real thing?
Aren't we going to Venice?
We are going to Venice, so we're going to find out firsthand, I suppose.
So Venice Shark Tooth Festival. No, not a thing.
That is a thing because one thing the beaches out there are known for, they have a ton of shark teeth on their beaches. So yeah, that's a real thing. You can literally go to the beach and just find shark teeth everywhere. It's kind of crazy. All right, next up, so far, isn't it insane that all of these are real?
Yes, these are real things.
All right, next up. The Tupelo Honey Festival, and I want to ask you: do you think it actually features the Miss Tupelo Honey Queen? Is that a real thing?
Oh, I so want her to be a honey queen. Yes, I really do want her to be a honey queen.
Suzanne Boyd of People of Palm Beach was the watermelon queen when she was younger. So yes, there is a honey queen.
Yeah, thank God. What would this world be without a honey queen?
All right, next up.
She's sweet as could be.
As sweet as can be. So this next one made me think of our anniversary trip out to Oktoberfest. So this is it's be interesting if we haven't seen these ladies there. But the Florida Folk Festival is the oldest continuous folk festival in the United States and features the Cotton Candy Sisters, an over 60 dance troupe. Happens Memorial Day weekend every year in White Springs. Is that real or fake?
I'm going fake. It's very descriptive, and I think you went out on a limb on that
dang
one.
it, I gave myself
you
away.
did too much. If you'd just said the Florida Folk Festival featuring the Cotton Candy Sisters, but you went all the way, and I went, that's got to be fake.
Dang it, you know my tells. Yeah, that's fake. I know Cotton Candy Sisters. But I must say, if that ever becomes a thing, I need to see it for myself. All right, next up. Now, this one is something
sounds like something would be at the Villages, though, doesn't it? The Cotton Candy Sisters.
I know. I can picture them now. So this next one is something that even though you don't like seafood, you would be all about. This is the Fellsmere Frog Leg Festival, where you can start with one frog leg called a frog pop. It's on a stick and costs $3. Is that a real thing?
I don't know. I've never heard of Fellsmere, but I like frog's leg, so I'm going to go. Yes, there is a frog's leg
your
festival.
Wildest dreams? Yes, this is a real thing. You can get a frog pop, frog leg on a stick. That's hilarious. All right,
It's
two more.
so funny because Jemmy will not eat will eat all kinds of weird fishy stuff, and she didn't like frog's legs.
No, frogs are in the mud. That's gross. All right. So I'm going to give you these last two together because one is fake and one is real. So you have to tell me.
Okay.
One is the Kumquat Festival, Dade County in January with 35,000 people attending, or the Strawberry Festival in Plant City in March with a strawberry stacking contest between the country music acts. Which is real and which is fake?
Well, I think the Strawberry Festival is real in Plant City because I think I've seen an ad for it. So I'm going with Strawberry Festival is real and kumquats are out.
Well, you're kind of half right. So Kumquat Festival is a real thing. And yes, it pulls in 35,000 freaking people every year. Unbelievable. But also,
I'm trying to remember what a kumquat is.
I know,
I got
me neither.
swamp cabbage and a kumquat here.
But yeah, Strawberry Festival is a real thing, but there is no strawberry stacking contest between the country music acts. They don't sit there stacking strawberries.
Too bad.
But well done, Glenn, on spotting the fakes.
I did pretty good. Hey, I just looked it up because I hate to leave things hanging. Swamp cabbage is taken from the cabbage palm tree, otherwise known as the sable palm, Florida state tree. But once the heart is taken, the tree dies. Both Martin and St. Lucie counties officials said it is not illegal to cut the cabbage palms, but practice is not encouraged because it kills the tree.
Well, who knows? Not only
And
is swamp
that's
cabbage
the
a real
heart
thing,
of
but
palm.
it's like a serious Florida thing.
Yeah, exactly. But apparently they make stew out of it, and it doesn't look enticing, by the way.
I can imagine. But there are, if you couldn't tell, a lot of festivals. So just find your local, literally, just go Google Florida festivals. You will be shocked how many there are. And you can find one right in your own backyard. Well, before we get into everything else that's going on in the state of Florida, Glenn and I wanted to take a moment to update you guys on something new that we're going to be doing with Finding Florida. And this actually came up as an idea while we're standing in the Orlando Eye with a bunch of buddies over at PodFest in Orlando. And so the idea is for roaming reporter segments. So these are going to be segments where if you're out and about doing something cool and you want to share it with the world, you can submit the audio to us for inclusion on the show. And right now we have some friends out of Key West, out of Venice, and out of Orlando signing up to participate, but really anybody can contribute. And in a minute, we'll tell you how you can submit yourself. But first, I want to let you hear from our first roaming reporter. So that ride in the Orlando Eye we just mentioned, well, from Venice, Florida, here is my mentee, Izzy, of Reporting Live Podcast, giving us her take on the ride.
Hey, what's up, News Squad? I'm Izzy from Reporting Live. I was wanting to share with you guys on a side adventure I just went on. Okay, so I was outside and I saw lights. I was drawn to them. I had to see what was going on. So I came upon the Icon Orlando, the Eye in the Sky, which was a beautiful 400-foot Ferris wheel. Because we're Florida residents, we got a discount for a great deal. The ride costs $41 for a Florida resident and around $70 if you're not one. The ride was 24 minutes long. I personally would want to go around more instead of just slowly stopping and slowly stopping. And while I was up there, it looked like I was a giant, so I got to see from a giant's perspective of what the whole entire view looked like. It was amazing. When we were walking around, I heard this song. Suavemente, besame. And I just had to get my Latin dance moves out there. Then I started showing off some Fortnite dances there. And make sure you're not going to go into any photo booths if you're under 53 inches, like me. Because if you take pictures in the photo booth, all you're going to see is the top of your head. If you look at the pictures I took, you can barely see me at all. I loved seeing all the lights and the music. It was a great experience. And then, after a long night of having so much fun, we went to dinner. We went to Red Robin. Red Robin, yum. And it was so yummy. Like it just says in the commercial, yum. I ordered chicken nuggets, because I'm very picky. And so I got 3 long chicken tenders, and then steak fries. And I read on the top of the menu, bottomless, on the sides and the entree. So they gave me 9 chicken nuggets. So good. And I got to take some home. And they gave me a lot of fries. So I'm so happy about that. So if you're looking for something to eat, go to Red Robin. It's amazing. Bye.
I mean, come on. She's just the cutest thing ever. And thank you, Izzy, for sending, and so side note, her dad, James, sent this over to me and his message was, don't mind her stuffy nose.
Yeah, she sounded like she had a cold.
So precious. So yeah, it's that simple. So she just went out, doing her normal thing. And she decided to send us a little review on what she did out and about in Florida. But
she's 10 years old.
No. She just had a birthday. She's 11.
Oh, she's 11 years old. She puts us to shame. Her restaurant review was better than ours. So
she talked about the specials. How many tenders she got. By the way, the number of tenders you get is like the number one most important thing to a kid. So I get it.
And do all kids only eat chicken tenders, by the way?
Pretty much. Chicken tenders, pizza, mac and cheese. And French fries, you're right. So yeah, anybody can contribute. If you like to have your voice heard and tell us what you're doing in Florida, please just apply. You just have to send us your name, where you're from. If you're already a podcaster, then tell us the name of your show, like Izzy did with Reporting Live Podcast, and what kinds of things you like to do and check out in your town so we can kind of get a sense of what you might submit. And you can send that all to me in an email, Jemmy, Jaime, at FloridaPodcastNetwork.com, and we'll reach out and get to chatting with you.
Just a quick reminder for you to go ahead and jump into the FPN Insiders on Facebook. You're going to see a picture of Jemmy in her new outfit because she's getting a new job. You'll see that in there if you want to see what that's all about. It's a closed group exclusively for super fans of the Florida Podcast Network shows, such as the Finding Florida podcast, and we'll give you access to early scoops, contests, and other special treats.
Wait, rewind. What is this new job? What are you talking about?
You're the mermaid job, but didn't you apply? Wiki Watchy's looking for new mermaids, and you'd look really good in a tail.
You're trying. It's going to keep failing. I'm not.
You can hold your
flying
breath
to
for
be
2 minutes.
No.
Leave us feedback, etc. So we look forward to meeting you in there. And of course, you'll find pictures and videos of what we have coming up in our next 2 episodes. The fairs and festivals. I headed out to the number 2 air show in the country. And then we both went and hung out with some really interesting anime characters. And then you're heading off. You haven't even done this one yet. You're heading off to eat 1,000 pounds of crawfish. I heard there was a challenge.
Myself in a crawfish boil and eat my way out. That's what
You'll
I'm
be
heading
so
off to
disappointed
do
if you go to the
tomorrow.
Cajun Festival and they have no crawfish.
Oh, no. I've already heard there's going to be multiple recipes. There's cooking contests, which I'm volunteering myself as the judge, whether they want me or not.
You could be a crawfish judge.
Let me tell
really
you,
could.
there's also a rumor of a 420 bus, which I'll just let the audience think on that themselves what that's going to be about. But yeah, authentic Louisiana music. Oh, I'm so excited. It's going to be, I'm bringing back Jemmy from the college days, my friends. Oh my gosh. Well, anyways, coming up next, though, the rest of this episode, we'll be getting into a whole bunch of other fun Florida stuff, and we'll do so right after this. You are listening to the Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida. FPN is committed to promoting local brands and businesses through a network of podcasts celebrating the Sunshine State, and you can be a part of it. We'll make it easy to showcase your brand through the power of podcasting. Our team has successfully worked with over 50 companies to help promote their brands. Target our niche audiences through ads and host-read commercial spots on individual episodes, or contribute content to a show on a regular, ongoing basis. Make your brand part of the FPN family. Head to floridapodcastnetwork.com/partner with us for more information, to download our media kit, and to reach out. The Florida Podcast Network, celebrating Florida one local brand at a time. Guess what time it is, Glenn?
What time is it?
It's time for us to find out more fun stuff about the rest of the state of Florida. We're about to replay the last mystery sound we had, which was from the episode number 16A. As I shared, this sound was from an activity I witnessed one morning while on my walk. And you were right, Glenn, in your guess that it was a mating ritual. So the question on that episode was, well, what was mating, or at least what was trying to mate? So go ahead and play that clip again, Glenn.
Seems that there's a theme to your clips. I'm just saying.
I mean, somebody wants to get it on.
Trying to think if you were out for your walk, because I've done that walk with you. What's in the neighborhood? There's squirrels, there's rabbits, there's peacocks, but that's definitely not loud enough for a peacock.
No, you know the peacock sound.
Yeah, I mean, that's really loud.
Well, the dramatic reveal, it was ducks. It's just those regular old ducks you see like everywhere. And I must admit, I was pretty surprised which one ended up being the girl. I kind of thought it was the other way around all this time. Unless I'm getting my duck mating anatomy very wrong.
But usually with ducks, like other birds, the females are less colorful.
Yeah, I think I got it wrong, but so we'll see. I'll ask them next time. But it was super awkward because so I was filming these ducks. I mean, just full on doing it, just standing there, literally filming so I could capture this audio. And of course, I'm filming video because that's, for some reason, the decision I made. And I look behind me, and my neighbor was outside in his driveway washing his car. So he's watching me, not just watching, but filming these ducks doing it. So awkward. But man, it's the price you pay for good content. So nobody guessed, actually, that the mystery sound this time, but there'll be a mystery segment in the future again, so stay tuned.
Officer in need of assistance from animal control.
Well, we just heard from one common Florida animal, but we are being invaded, Glenn, and it's up to you to figure out which critter is causing the issue? Please play clip number 1.
People who live in one Palm Beach Gardens neighborhood say these toxic right here are just taking over. You can see they are becoming quite a problem for folks who live in there, but why now? Why so many? Turns out the answer actually does make some sense. Yeah, WPTV News Channel 5's Hani Rodriguez is outside the Mirabella and Mirasol community in Palm Beach Gardens to tell us. The big concern here is that these are poisonous and they can cause serious health problems for both your family and your pets. So take a look at this video. Inside, folks here tell me they're just infestating their swimming pools. They're on sidewalks, on people's driveways, and just everywhere. These secrete a toxic, milky substance, which can cause serious problems for your family and even the pets if they get to eat or lick any. Well, the residents here are frustrated, telling us that the Homeowners Association will not help fix the problem. For now in Palm Beach County, I'm Hani Rodriguez, WPTV News Channel 5.
Any
Is
guesses?
this? Yes, I do have one. Is this the big snails are back that we had a couple of years ago?
Oh my gosh, I think we covered that as our
Yes,
first
they were like
critters
a
of
foot
Florida.
long and they were
Massive
gross.
from like Australia or someplace.
Yes,
They
yes.
were ridiculous. No, that is an excellent guess. No. Well,
Because they left slimy stuff too. The
they
big
did,
snail.
and they were
Yeah.
totally invasive,
Poisonous.
and they were
Yeah.
poisonous. It's such a good guess. Well, no, they actually, and this story actually made national news.
Why are these animals always showing up in Palm Beach and West Palm Beach? I mean, it's always.
I know, it's true. Poor Savannah Guthrie on NBC's Today Show covered it, and in this next clip, she gives you not only the answer but also her reaction.
Heavy rainfall is causing an invasion of toxic toads in South Florida. They're known as cane toads because they were brought to this country to control pests in sugarcane fields. The problem may not go away soon. A new batch is expected to hatch in about 3 weeks. Now, everyone knows I do have a fear
I was
of
going to
frogs.
say, why are you doing that?
I don't know. I can barely get through it.
These are ugly frogs too. I just looked them up.
Afraid of frogs. Cover the frog star.
God, I just looked them up. These are ugly frogs
They're
too. These are
ugly.
not attractive.
So cane frogs, you might know them from the more commonly known term of bufo toads. These are bufos. These are super toxic bufo toads.
Why
all over
does
this
the government, every time they introduce something, it causes more problems than it fixes?
It does. They bring him in to control pests and sugarcane fields, and now they are the pests. And they're
Well,
clogging.
it happens every time.
Every time they're clogging pool filters. They're toxic to small kids and pets. They're going to be springing up a new batch of hatchlings in 3 weeks. And the HOA says, "Yeah, suck it."
Yeah, because we don't know what to do. I don't know. What do you call?
I don't know. Well, the funny thing is, so as a biblical side note, I got this message also from my dad right around this, like within days of hearing about these frogs invading. That guess what rained down in Mumbai recently?
Oh, was it the locust thing?
No, it rained fish in Mumbai. Okay.
And then they had a huge locust outbreak over there too. It's like, you're right. It's
totally biblical.
Moses is back.
I know. So the Mumbai thing, you know, the movie Sharknado, that's basically what it was a tornado that once it got over land, it dissipated. It started over water, sucked up all the fish. Thankfully, no sharks, but dropped them on Mumbai. So I don't know what's going on in the world, but everybody brace yourselves.
The snails are coming back. You watch.
FML. Florida. Ugh, my life. Well, for this month's FML segment, which is Florida, ugh, my life, we have 2 stories that involve people getting lost. And we'll start with Brittany Blake. So Brittany Blake recently visited Epcot with her boyfriend, Gregory. And it was for spring break, and they were there on a Friday. It was a beautiful day. They spent the whole day just not together because they got lost. They got separated somehow. And so she turned to Facebook's group for annual pass holders, and she wrote this. She goes, "Weird post, but I lost my boyfriend in Epcot today and haven't been able to find him for hours because his phone is dead."
I was going to say, don't they have phones these days?
If anyone sees him, can they tell him to meet us at the Mexican Pavilion? I'm the one who's nervous here because I hate being alone. He's probably off drinking.
He's having a good time.
So then she posted a picture of him, of the two of them standing out in front of the big, Mickey's big ball with he's wearing like this obnoxiously bright Hawaiian shirt. Like, please. So quickly, this went viral in this group, and the internet sleuths went to work, and it became like a real life Where's Waldo. For 2 hours, more than 1,300 people commented on her post. 2 hashtags were created. One, Find Gregory, and the other was Find Brittany BF for boyfriend. Now, most of the people who were commenting were unfortunately making fun of her for losing her adult boyfriend.
Yeah. He was probably in the Germany bar the entire time, slugging down ale.
Well, actually, some of the suggestions were right along those lines. Not very helpful. So one person says, "Have you checked P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney? Do you know what that reference is from?"
No.
Of course you don't. It's from Finding Nemo.
Oh.
And then another person wrote, "At some point, you need to give up and take the gift that's in front of you. You're now a single rider, and that's almost like having a fast pass."
That is true.
Well, here's the conclusion of the story. With just 2 minutes to spare, her boyfriend was finally spotted. I mean, just finally. And where was he?
In the Germany Pavilion at the bar.
No. That would make a lot more sense. He was where any respectable 20-something-year-old man would be, at the Frozen attraction. He was waiting in line at the Frozen attraction.
Well, he did it right. He didn't worry about finding her. He just went on with his day.
Apparently he was drinking all day, having a great time.
I always say the truth is somewhere in the middle, and he might not want to been with her all day.
There were no details on how they got split up in the first place. Maybe he just ran for it.
Yeah, I think he went to the bathroom and never came out.
Oh my gosh. Well, it could happen to any of us. Those theme parks are massive.
You think about the old days when you had to have meetup spots, or if you were at a park, you lost somebody, you were gone.
Sucked because the parks are so big that if your meetup spot was on the other side, forget it. You were walking.
Yeah. God, even on the cruise, it was that way.
Yeah,
when we wanted to meet up, we couldn't communicate.
It's true. You're right. Well, so as an additional Disney PSA, number 1, have a meetup spot just in case. And number 2, they actually just raised ticket prices. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes
like
for
a
more
lot
info on that, because I think that's something that people need to know about. So that's that link's going in the show notes. So if you go to Disney and you pay the even bigger ticket prices, make sure you have a meetup spot so you don't spend your entire day searching for your adult boyfriend. All right, so moving on to story number 2. All right, so if you remember from the last FML segment, I really griped a lot because it was like, what are the chances of me getting vertigo of all times right before we're about to be walking on some floating docks at a boat show? And well, in this episode, I am again sharing my own FML story. And I think it's been long enough that I can finally talk about it without the embarrassment.
Trying to remember which one this is.
You'll know. So you're the one who got the frantic phone call. You'll know. So I was driving home from Podfest. I had to leave a little early, cut the night short because the next day was going to be my son's birthday. So I was determined to get home in time. Well, so I left around 5:30, had about a 3-hour drive ahead of me, and I make it to about halfway there. I stop at Fort Drum.
Yeah, you were on the the infamous Florida Turnpike from Orlando to Miami, and that goes through the most boring section of Turnpike in the world.
Section ever. So I managed to get to Fort Drum, which is a very huge service rest stop area, and go in there, do my thing, come back out, head back on the road. I'm driving. And I'm like watching the clock, and I'm like, oh, good. I'm going to be home in about a half hour. This is great. It was about 8:30. This is awesome. Perfect. And I see a sign that says Orlando, because why? When I got back on the turnpike at Fort Drum, I went the wrong way.
And that's easy to do because those, for people not familiar with Florida, if you haven't been here, they're all in the middle. The rest stops are in the middle, so they have north and south. You could go either way when you pull out.
Oh my God. And I totally went the wrong way.
By the way, people, she was not laughing like that when she called me.
No, I mean, the scream that came out of my chest was
I thought she had wrecked and was like half dead,
I was
lying in a ditch.
was freaking out. Now, luckily, I saw this 2 miles ahead of the Osceola Parkway, which, if you're at all familiar, is a great turnaround spot, because if you miss a turnaround spot, it's another 45 minutes to an hour. So thankfully, within about 5 minutes, I was turned around. Now, the kicker here is that my gas gauge on my car is broken. So I have to know exactly how many miles I've driven to know how far I have. And I knew I had just enough gas to get home when I thought I was only a half hour away. And now that I turned around, I had no idea I was going to be making it. But thankfully, I made it to the next rest stop. And 2 hours later, I made it. 2.5 hours later, I finally made it back home. It was awful. So my little public service announcement is make sure you get on the right way when you get back on the turnpike.
Every time I talk to her now, I'm driving back and forth to her house or Southern Florida for the show. She always is like, get on the right way. Make sure you get on the right way. I've heard that about 100 times now.
You've now
met. And by the way, if you ever call me that hysterical again, you better be in the hospital.
I know. I kind of, it was awful.
You better be in the hospital. You scared the crap out of me.
I started driving and I doubled my trip like an idiot. Ugh, FML. So, Glenn, I need to tell you about a man named Andrew Lippy. He is 59 years old and from Key West. And Andrew Lippy was recently arrested for participating in what police describe as a scheme to steal $300 in household items from Kmart. What he did was he purchased several items, including a Keurig coffee maker and light bulbs. And then what he would do is return the original boxes for a refund, but they were stuffed with other things. Like, for example, inside the Keurig box was a basketball. Okay. So a Keurig coffee maker and some light bulbs were on Andrew Lippy's thievery list. So here's the thing that's Flori-DUH. I would like you to try to take a stab, Glenn, at guessing what was another one of Lippy's most recent purchases.
A TV, and he stuffed it full of cane toads.
That's where the problem started in Palm Beach Gardens. No,
that's right. No,
it wasn't him.
Okay.
No. Lippy bought, drum roll, please, Thompson Island, an $8 million island off of Key West. So he steals $300 worth of stuff, and he just bought an
The guy's a billionaire, and he was stealing stuff and returning it?
Yeah. He also owns the Real World House, which is in Key West. It's where MTV shot its 17th season of the show back in 2006. So he was charged with grand theft, booked in jail, and he was also issued a trespass warning to stay away from Kmart. He's no longer allowed in Kmart. Now, jail records show he was released already. I'm sure he found the bail somehow with that $8 million.
Could he be charged for being a dumbass?
I mean, I don't know if I should be laughing or sad. This is just one of those. I'm like, what?
There's a problem there.
There's a problem there. Andrew Lippy, what are you doing? If you know Andrew Lippy, please reach out to him and offer your friendship and comfort. Because
Does he still have the island, though? Would he let us borrow it for a little?
Oh, that might be something fun.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, then you'd have to take that long bridge, though, out there.
Oh, yeah. But okay. No, forget it. We're not going.
Well, thanks for coming along with us once again as we are finding Florida.
Florida's just full of festivals all year round, and you just got a sneak peek into our fun adventure episode, checking out 3 of them coming up very shortly. And we'll start with the Sun and Fun Fly-In and the Hatsumi Japanese Festival on episode 18B.
And if you want to join in with me at the fun at the Cajun Crawfish and Music Festival to cap off this adventure for episode 18C, it's happening April 20th from noon to 9 p.m. There will be an authentic Cajun cuisine set up, some cooking demos, local celebrities, classic Bourbon Street drinks, and even Zydeco music. I'm going to be dancing my butt off, and you can find the link for it in the show, not my butt, but the event in the show notes.
And for our adventure next month, we head off in an RV. RVs are such a huge part of Florida culture. Half the people that arrive here come in RVs, it seems like. And the folks at Freedom RV, who we just met at the Freedom Boat Club back on episode 16B, are trusting us with a brand spanking new RV.
Fools.
We'll be taking their training course. They're making us do this so we don't crash it. And we'll be leaving from Venice on the West Coast, heading down through Punta Gorda and ending up in Fort Myers. We'll be meeting up with some friends and fellow podcasters along the way. Yeah, that's happening in May. I'm so excited.
So excited for this one. You know what makes me the most excited for it? I remember our last road trip that took us from one side of Florida to the other side. I think it was 11B, I think it was. 11B and C. That was so much fun. And that just really felt like the most authentic representation of what this show could be. It was just such a great time. So I feel like we're going to do it again.
Only this time in more style and with a place to sleep.
I know. It's a whole new world. All right. Be sure to head to findingfloridapodcast.com for all of our social media links to follow us on all of our trips and such, or just search for Find FL Podcast and check out our photos and our videos, like, share, leave us comments. And also remember to join our group of Florida Podcast Network enthusiasts on Facebook by looking up FPN Insiders.
And if you're a fellow podcaster in Florida or thinking about becoming one, check out our other show, Florida Podcasting News. It's the news that keeps you on the inside of Florida's podcasting industry. And Jemmy and I share a ton of tips. Find it at floridapodcastingnews.com.
Now we're about to take you with us on our adventure full of festival fun.
And here's to your next Florida adventure.